Hi there, welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to explain what is AWS SAM and why to use it. So let's suppose you have a system, something like this, where you have multiple AWS resources interacting with each other. Suppose you have tens of Lambda, then some DynamoDB, you have API gateways, and let's suppose you have other resources as well, such as Amazon Cognito, X-ray tracing. So in this architecture, you have a lot of resources which you have to create and a lot of resources you have to interact with. So if you go with a traditional approach, what would you do? You go to AWS console and you'll be creating this manually in AWS console and you'll be manually orchestrating the flow. But let's suppose in future something's changed. Some lambdas you have merged or removed, or some new API has been introduced. So it would be harder for you to track the flow, and it would be harder for you to understand what went wrong with your system. And also the person who is managing all this thing have to understand the whole system. So that is kind of bottleneck for your project. So as your project grows, you should be not doing all this thing manually. So there must be some way to automate this. There must be some way by which you can centralize this whole thing in one place. So AWS SAM gives you that capability, although it is bounded with AWS platform only, but it's a great tool. It's a great framework with which you can manage all this thing programmatically. So what does that mean? Programmatically, in the sense, you'll have a code base where you'll be able to create all these resources, all the API gateways, this DynamoDB table, this Lambda function. You can enable X-ray tracing. You can create your queue. All the resources you can create from that particular code base, and you'll be able to orchestrate the flow as well. You'll be able to add the events. You'll be able to add action, what has to be done on any particular event. So all of this thing can be orchestrated in your code base. So in future, if anything happens, if any infrastructure level changes happens, you can easily go to your code base. You can easily identify how systems are interacting, how resources are interacting with each other, how events are being called, how events are being triggered. You can find a bottleneck there, and it will be easier for you to manage and maintain your code. So AWS SAM gives you a nicer way to do that. And if you see a configuration file provided by AWS SAM, this is a sample file which you'll get by default whenever you create a Hello World program with CLI. And if you see here, it uses a simple YAML file, which is very good. These are some of the configurations which you'll get by default. So whatever resources you want to create, you can create inside this section. You can see this is already there, and this is a Lambda function, and you can attach an event with it, and you can configure various things. You can create your resources such as SQS, APIs, DynamoDB table. You can enable X-ray tracing. So a lot of things you can do through your code base. You don't have to interact with AWS console manually. And whenever you are done with it, you just have to build it and deploy it, and that will go to your cloud formation. This is another resource which is provided in AWS. You can go to stacks and you'll be able to see your build. So this is the stack name which I've been using for this particular project. And if you go inside of it, you'll be able to see all the resources which is managed by this particular stack, by this particular project. So everything is centralized in one place. You'll not be confused which resource belongs to which stack or which project. So if you directly come to CloudFormation, you'll be able to see all the details of your stack and what are the resources it's been managing. And here you can see we have a Lambda function, few permissions, roles, then we have a REST API with us. And the good thing is you can directly click here and it will redirect you to your resource. So in future, if you want to add any APIs, you don't have to come here and add it. You can directly go to your template YAML file and you can do it here. And documentation wise, it's very good. If you go to SAM documentation, you'll find all these details. You don't have to remember each and every line of this code. You just have to understand what this is meant for. And suppose if you want to add any more resource to it, you just Google it, you'll get a configuration for it. Suppose I want to add DynamoDB. In my case, I'll just Google it. I'll go to the link, and here is a sample for it. So this is the resource. I can quickly grab it from here and just paste it here. And make sure your indentation is proper, otherwise it will throw you error. After that, you can give the name of the table as per your requirement. So this is a NoSQL database. So as per your requirement, you can modify it, and that's it. This will create a new resource for you, a DynamoDB table for you. Similarly, if you want to create some other resource like SQS, you can happily go and Google it, copy it, and paste it here. So you don't have to remember the configuration. Only thing is you have to understand how this configuration is working and interacting. with each other. So that's it, guys. I hope this was useful to you, and I'll come up with more tutorials in my future video. Feel free to ask any question if you have in the comment section below, and I'll see you in my next video. Thank you.